and my usual Friday insight reading with yes, no, maybe answers to questions that you have. Just my typical reminder to phrase your questions so that if yes were the outcome you got, that's the outcome you're hoping for. So yes would be the outcome you're hoping to get here to your question. So phrase your question so that yes is what you would want. Okay, sorry, I think I repeated that like 3 times. Hopefully everyone got the picture of what I was trying to say. So we have 4 piles today. Pile 1 is a Quartz Cluster. Pile 2, we have Aquamarine. Pile 3, we have kind of a raw clear crystal quartz. And pile 4, we have flower agate. So feel free to pause here. I'll get my hands out of the screen in just a second. Okay, so feel free to pause here if you need time to tune into these crystals, feeling into which pile has your aligned message and answer to your question. When you're ready, timestamps are in the description so you can jump straight to your reading. If you have multiple questions, you can pick, different piles for each of those as well. Okay, I will see you guys in your readings. Hello, pile 1. Welcome to your Friday Insight with yes, no, maybe answers to your questions. So like usual, I love to start off talking about intuitive hits that came as I was preparing for your reading. Definitely some of your cards were sort of flipping over. I did this one kind of get the gist of what that card was. The others I didn't see, but they were all like flipping over. My sense of what that felt like was that whatever you have asked about, clarity about your answer or some event in relation to your question is like right about to happen, like today or at least in the next few days from when you see this reading, like some continuation or some clarity. Something's about to happen though. Beyond that, I did get sort of, no matter if you get a yes or no here, I did get some positive feeling energy going on, some maybe clear energy. So let's jump into the cards. So initially, before we get your yes, no, maybe answer, I'm going to be looking at underlying energy that is affecting your question, whether you are conscious or not about it. Okay, so let's look at these first few cards. We've got the Self. We've got Teamwork. And we've got Mirror. Very interesting. This makes a lot of sense. So in this particular deck, teamwork has more to do with internal alignment of your mind, body, soul. So like all of those different dynamics inwardly that we can often have tension with, that can prevent us from feeling clear about life or moving forward in certain things or struggling to grow in certain ways. It's talking about those things that can sometimes be in tension, finding their harmony, finding their clarity, finding their alignment and working together. And this has something to do with either your sense of self or your personal agenda, or just finding something that is really connected to your personal passion and that gives you a sense of drive and motivation in life. And then the mirror showing up to me here is indicating that there is energy around you right now that's helping, so you may need to pay attention to this. Some of you may be like, yeah, that makes sense. But some of you may be like, oh, okay, I should tune into that because clearly something's trying to come through to me that other people that you engage about whatever your question is about, they have a lot to mirror to you that can help clarify certain things that might be hard on your own to clarify. So this definitely indicates that you should be, at least with like one person that you would totally trust to talk to about this question, that there is some mirroring that could be provided there. So whoever like first pops into your mind, if this is something that you don't feel like you could talk to someone about, like maybe a counselor, you know, someone where they have a Hippocratic oath or whatever the oath is that like a counselor or a psychologist might take, that, you know, patient confidentiality kind of stuff. So something like that. But there may also be things generally happening in your life, in your environment, that are trying to provide mirroring to you, to give you some clarity around your question. And I think that's why I felt a lot of clear energy here, is like there are these external forces that are, you know, whether it's people or events or just synchronicities, whatever it is, but there are things trying to give you a mirror to see things more clearly here. Okay, let's get a little more insight before we get your yes, no's. Feed your creativity. Yeah, like some kind of, there's something about connecting to what's lighting you up in a creative way, like really getting clear about what motivates you creatively. Make a decision. Yeah, and I think by getting clear inwardly about something about your, you know, what lights you up, what motivates you creatively, will help you to make some kind of decision where maybe you do have some inner tension going on. And then hematite with ground yourself. I think this mirroring energy that's around you could be something that's very grounding to you, could provide some grounding. And when I say that out loud, what I felt when I just said that is like would put you in a more grounded place in terms of like clarity or decision you're seeking around your question. Yeah, okay. All right, let's jump in to get you some answers to your question. 10 of Wands came out. Oops. Take the top one, 2 of Cups in reverse. Get one more. And 4 of Swords in reverse. Interesting. So there's definitely some heaviness you're carrying. You may be at the end of the road with something here. But you need to do some inner work. You need to still your mind, especially around some deeper inner knowing, some deeper connection to your personal intuition. It's like your intuition knows something here, but I think maybe you're like too in your mind and creating some spinniness. But if you can just get still, kind of go into meditation to really still your mind, that's the thing that's going to get those inner tensions more clear and in alignment to sort of know what to do here. My sense is that you're about to complete something, and so like a new cycle is about to come in for your life. Like, oddly enough, it's funny because these tarot cards that are, you know, the intention is to help give the yes, no here. But when I take into account the rest of what's come up in the reading, like normally if I was only using these, I would say no. But how they feel overlaying what we've already kind of gone through and the feelings that were already coming up for me is like, there is a yes here. It's like you're coming into your purpose, but you may be like overwhelmed. And so there's things you're not seeing clearly. It's like you're needing one last step to either complete something or to get to that new thing, whichever makes more sense to you. Whether it's something new or something you're trying to complete. It's like there's just like one more hurdle, but you're kind of, it's like there's a decision or some inner tensions that are kind of muddying up which way to go here. And this is saying if you can come into a certain stillness, really calm your mind, and you may have to work at this, you'll see what that decision is you need to make. You'll find that clarity. You'll see what's trying to be mirrored to you, and things will snap into place. So my sense is if you're asking about something that's past tense, where there's already a yes, no, it's like the yes is there, but in order for you to see it, you need to still your mind and find that inner harmony. If this is more future tense, where the yes, no still is unfolding, it's like the yes is very much so within reach. Like there's one more step to your yes, and you just need to take a minute to get more clear, to come into, like, especially around your mind is getting in the way of something that's just more of an action you need to take. But an action directed from your soul. And so if you can find that stillness and really calm your mind, you'll start to notice the mirroring that's happening, and you'll start to understand that last step you need to take, and it will feel less burdensome, and it will feel like, oh, got it. That's what the purpose is here. This is why I need to take the step, or why this is the step that should be taken. But I do feel underlying that there is a yes either way, whether it's past tense or something that's still unfolding. Okay, so that's where I'm going to leave you guys. If this resonated, I always appreciate support with likes. Is the easiest thing. Subscribe for sure if you want more of these readings, and share with a friend if this particularly resonated for you. Definitely always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. And I hope you guys have a beautiful day wherever and whenever you are, and good luck with this question. All right, see you guys. Hello, beautiful pile 2. Welcome to your Friday Insight with yes, no, maybe answers to your questions. So, first thing that I love to do is just tune into intuitive hits that came as I was preparing for your reading. And interestingly, I never really had this happen. It was funny. But all these little things that happen when I'm preparing feel like, I'm tuning into the energy of the pile. And as I was drawing these first initial 3 cards and placing them, I was looking at my monitor instead of at the cards in front of me, to try and make sure they were sort of like placed right in the framing. And so I wasn't necessarily like really taking in the individual cards. I was kind of taking in the whole screen and the frame. And suddenly, like, I zoomed in and I realized this last card I picked was upright. but my hand was covering the words, so like what the card was. And it's, you know, these cards have very abstract images, so you know, there's a few of them I would recognize immediately in what that card was, but a lot of them I wouldn't totally put together that it connected to the meaning it was connecting to. So I don't know what the card is about. It was a very abstract image, and I didn't get much about the image, but what the takeaway for me here is that there's maybe like something about you being a little bit like zoomed out and looking at the big pictures of things around your question. And if you were to zoom in and pay a little bit more attention to the details, you would see something very obvious that was really important to your question. I don't know if that obvious thing is positive or, you know, negative in terms of what your question is, but there's like some detail that's like glaringly obvious if you were to just zoom in and look at the details that needs your attention. So that was my takeaway. That's what it felt like. Let's get into the cards though to get that. So initially we're going to be looking at some underlying energy around your question, whether that's conscious or not, that's affecting your question. And then after that, we will do some tarot cards to get your answer. Okay, so we've got love, which that's beautiful. We've got the healer. Wow, it's very kind of peace. I'm feeling very peaceful energy coming through. And then the messenger, and that's the card that did flip over. So I'm going to pay particular attention to this one as something, you know, you're needing to recognize for some reason. Okay. The messenger. I don't know if there's something you are needing to communicate to somebody else, like be the messenger about something, connect a dot, that if you were to kind of zoom into the details, you'd be like, oh, shoot, actually this person's not informed, or if I sent this email, or if I better took care of this section of something I'm working on, the message would be more clear. It could also be that someone's trying, or the universe is trying to give you a message and you're not like paying attention to a certain detail that the message is coming through or about. It could be a little bit of both, but like zoom into certain details and notice if there's something you need to be more clear about, or something that you're looking for information on, that if you were, you know, I feel like when we get really clear about an intention, the universe and our higher mind always lead us to an answer. So it's like maybe even asking a little sub-question within your question of like a detail, and like that's trying to be made clear to you. It's already like it's obvious, and it's trying to get through to you either that you need to do this, or that you need to be open to a message somewhere. But it does feel like something to do with, you know, healing your heart, or being more compassionate, or receiving some compassion, which even makes sense with the aquamarine stone. There's like some softening that's trying to reach you, whether it's you needing to soften in your own messaging or receiving softer messages. So it could even be like your mindset just needing to be a little softer, more gentle about something around this question. Okay, let's get a few more cards to expand on this. That one's sticking out. So appetite, get out of your comfort zone. Interesting. And whoops. Well, both of the two cards we need came out. Create your own luck with adventuring. And Chrysophase is saying allow yourself to receive. So you need to receive a message. That's good. That's good that, you know, I put out almost a question of like, is this you needing to be a messenger, or are you supposed to receive a message? And we already got an answer to that. You need to receive a message. But it's sort of like you need to notice a detail you need a message about, like what's a sub question to your question that might help clarify something. And then like ask that sub question and just wait for the answer. It will come very quick. It's already trying. Like it's almost like the answer will come like immediately when you ask the sub question, because it's like already there. Create your own luck and get out of your comfort zone. To me, like the combined message coming through is like, get out of your own way. Let your heart lead you somewhere. It's trying to lead you somewhere. Like I think it's trying to lead you somewhere where there is greater healing or better energy for you, or it's trying to lead you somewhere in terms of like it's more healed than you think it is. But it's like, get out of your own way, tune into your heart and let it move you somewhere. It's trying to, move you because it's stronger than you think, or move you to something that will bring you more healing and better energy and more positivity. So something underlying your question is connected to all of this. Okay, so let's pull out the tarot cards and see if we can get your yes, no, maybe answer. So the Chariot in reverse. Interesting. Yeah, you're definitely like resisting letting your heart lead you somewhere. Ooh, a lot of reversals. 3 of Coins in reverse. But the thing is, and that's what I felt with like this. It's like something's already happening. A message is already here. Something's already taking place, and it's like but it's like inward. It's like something internally is starting to congeal and trying to call you to do more like inner development, to like know what you want, to even call in your own luck. But it's like your mind is getting in your way, because maybe for whatever reason around this question, going inward is out of your comfort zone. You're like trying to really come through the mind about something here. And then King of Cups also in reverse. Oh my gosh, you already know. You have a strong soul, you have a strong heart. You have a lot of authority there, but your mind is like getting in the way of something here. And it's funny because pile 1 had this thing too, where it was like, if I were only reading the tarot cards, I would give a very different answer than if I was taking the, all of what's come through in mind. But like if I were to read these tarot cards, if they were like the only cards I use, I'd be like, there's a definite no here. But from what I already felt, it's like the yes is already there. Like there is a yes here, but you're so resisting like seeing your heart and how strong your heart is, and the authority of your heart, and the possibility that lies within your heart, and where your heart's trying to direct you. So what I'm actually going to change my answer to you a little bit. If this question is past tense, there is a yes here. So like if this is related to something that's already happened, so it's either yes or no, because this is already, say you're asking like, did so-and-so even like me, where it's like they either did or they didn't, and it's past tense. It's like they did, but you're like too in your head about it to understand. Like you need to connect to your heart. You need to go inward. But where I'm going to change this is if this is a future tense question where it's like things are still unfolding, you can get in your own way here still. You can scuff this up if you don't go inward, if you don't reach your heart, if you don't let your heart lead you a little bit more in relation to this question. You could get into your own way around this and end up with a no. But if you can go inward, if you can move through heart and not mind, you have so much strength and there's so much possibility here. So I'm going to go back to that messenger. There's like something that's trying to make itself obvious to you that would really help you to flip some of these cards around and dare to go a little bit more inward and, like do some, if you need help of like, well, what does that mean? Like, how do I go inward? What does that mean? It's like, do some journaling. Ask this question at the top of a page and then just start automatic writing. And suddenly, like, the things you write will surprise you. And it's because it's coming from an inward place. So if you need help getting inward, that's a way to, one avenue to do that. If you know how to do that and you have your own things, go for it. But there's something about like, stop thinking. Even stop letting sort of the turbulence of emotion cloud something and just like ask your heart, like what's going on here? What can I do? And maybe that even gives more context here. Allow yourself to receive. I think it's receiving messages from your heart for sure. And so if this is a future tense question, you need to ask your heart some questions and like do some automatic writing, and it already knows the answer here. So there, past tense, yes, but you need to do some work to be able to see it. If this is something that's already, that still is unfolding, it's a maybe. You could get in your own way, but with a little bit of inward work and seeking, you can definitely pull out, like you have everything you need to pull off a yes. So hopefully that was helpful, resonated, gave you some insight that's needed. If so, I always appreciate support. The easiest way is just a like. If you're not subscribed and want more of these, do subscribe. That's also helpful and great. If you particularly really resonated with the reading, share it with somebody. And then definitely always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. And I hope you guys have a beautiful day wherever and whenever you are. And good luck with this question. And I will see you in future readings. Hello, Pile 3. Welcome to your Friday Insight, where we're going to get you yes, no, maybe answers to questions that you've brought here. So like usual, I love to tap into intuitive hits that came as I was preparing your pile and reading. So it was really interesting. There was immediately like some deep vulnerability that I started feeling as I was shuffling and drawing cards. Despite that vulnerability, it's like it's a very paradoxical energy, because a lot of times when I feel vulnerability coming through, like I'll start to get a bit anxious and sort of the organization of the reading gets a little just off kilter a bit. But this time, despite there being vulnerability, it was like there was also this really calm, it's sort of that sense of like when you've done something a lot, you've practiced a lot, like say you are learning how to play the piano and there's a particular song you're learning for your next lesson, and you practice and practice and practice, and coming up to that next lesson where you'll get that feedback from the teacher on how well you learn something is like the practice you put in has made you be able to be really on autopilot and calm about that particular piece you're now needing to play. But despite that, there's something that's feeling very vulnerable. So it's like, I don't know if it didn't feel like mental energy though. It felt, I don't know, like in this metaphor I'm using, it's almost like maybe it's like the piece of music you were learning stirred up some emotion in you. So it's like, even though you learn to play it very well and can almost play it on autopilot, it kind of throws you into a certain mood. That's almost like, what am I doing? Am I really wanting to learn piano? Am I investing my time well here? Yeah, that's what it feels like. It's like you've practiced, like there's some practiced energy here. Because there was this ability to go on autopilot and do things smoothly, but maybe there's some questions of if you're like in the right direction or doing the right thing, even though there's some sureness of footing at the same time. So I don't know. Yeah, let's get into the cards to see. So these initial cards we're going to look at underlying energy around your question that you may or may not be conscious of, but that is affecting something about your question. Okay, so we'll just be, which I think is a beautiful, almost sort of like just trust where your body's, these instincts and this practice is taking you. It's like you don't practice so hard at something for no reason. There's something about just being that's led you to do that. So whatever this question is around, I don't feel like there was like a forced element, like going back to the metaphor I was using, like, learning piano. It doesn't feel like a kid whose parents making them learn piano. It's like an adult deciding to learn piano. There's something about what you're asking that is natural to you, even if you're questioning something about it. And it's like, just these cards, I feel like are saying, like, just be intention. And maybe that's what you're struggling about, is like, there's something intuitive here and instinctual, but like, why? What is the purpose? Maybe that's what you're trying to grasp at. Like, what is the purpose though? Trying to bring more intention to something. Yeah, getting the bigger picture. What's the bigger picture? Why? Why is there kind of this compelled energy to practice something or to refine how I'm doing something? It's like I'm doing something just to do it, just because it's instinctually coming out of me, but like, why? And if I knew the why, maybe I could be more intentional in this kind of automatic thing I'm doing. So if that doesn't connect in any way to what you've asked about, it's like there's something in your life connecting to this energy that is affecting things around your energy. So it may not be directly related to what you've asked about, but there's something you're doing on this more instinctual level. And if you kind of zoom out to try and get a better picture of like, where is that coming from so I can focus it better, that instinctual will move to more intentional. Something about doing that will affect your question in a positive way. Okay, let's get a little more clarity on these cards. Recall your dreams. So yeah, I mean that a lot of times, dreams have a lot of different functions of why they happen, but one of them I definitely believe is like your subconscious talking to you, which can be like instincts. And so by paying attention to your dreams, you may be able to mine your subconscious to like understand, you know, through symbols in dreams that come through, you may be able to like understand something in your subconscious that's trying to clarify why you're feeling compelled or instinctual about doing something. Black kyanite, set strong boundaries. Interesting. That is definitely taking me in a new direction, but I need to feel that for a second. Yeah, I mean, I do just get the sense that it's like there's something you're either consciously or unconsciously trying to get a better grasp of why you do a certain thing. And it's like getting that clarity and that intentionality around it would be something that would help you to hold better boundaries or to have better boundaries about the thing you're doing. Yeah, it's interesting. But something, and that could be like if you have the clarity of like why you do something instinctually, it helps you to know yourself better. And when you know yourself better, you can have stronger boundaries. You can know what is and isn't all right for you a little more clearly. And then ocean jasper, schedule yourself in. Yeah, there's something you're needing, like clarity, more clarity around who you are. Interesting. Very fascinating energy. Okay. But yeah, I mean, some advice coming through on this, you know, background energy is like if you can spend, you know, schedule solo time where you're just with your own energy, where you can meditate, where you can connect to what your own impulses are, what's giving you some motivation and drive, what's lighting you up. It's like getting into your own energy, just being only around your own energy and scheduling that in regularly will help you to get like that higher view of maybe where these impulses are coming from and why certain things light you up. Yeah, this is like a lot of self-insight underlying this question that's needed. Okay, we are going to do a few tarot cards now to get your actual yes, no, maybe. The Magician. I just feel like whatever it is that you're instinctually doing, it is you, and it is something you have manifesting potential in, but maybe you need to understand where it's coming from better in order to not just, you know, it feels like another metaphor here is like, well, I'm going to continue with the piano metaphor. Just for some cohesion. So like you've decided you want to learn piano. Suddenly you're kind of like, why am I doing this? I feel compelled to do it, but what's it leading me to? Like it just feels like it's boundaryless. It's just something I'm doing, and it's like, why? But underlying this, there's magic there. It's part of your design, and there's like manifesting potential in it, but it's like you need that clarity of like, where am I taking this though? And it's like if you can get more time with yourself and understand like why it's lighting you up, and what exactly gives you that impulse or that drive or that motivation to practice or to move towards, you know, the piano during your days. Like, what is the, you know, what are the things that happen around me when I suddenly feel that urge to go practice or to do something connected to your question? It's like, that will give you little breadcrumbs of clues of like, oh, I'm learning this because I've actually always been interested, or like there's this deeper interest in my life about how music theory in general might illuminate how I understand patterns in life. And so if I can tangibly learn, you know, a musical instrument, it's giving me that experiential knowledge of the theory behind it that's the actual interest. And the theory behind music is something I want to apply to the way I understand patterns in general. So that's a little bit abstract, but like it's like that. And it's like, if I can understand where the impulse is coming from, I know why I'm doing this and how it applies to something bigger that's more conscious that I do. Eight of Swords, some kind of feeling trapped. And the Star, but this is very interesting energy. It's like this feeling trapped is bookended by these very hopeful energies. So what's going on with that? I don't think you're seeing your potential. Whatever you've asked about, it's like you're not seeing the greater potential here. The greater is like there's a greater pattern at play that you're not seeing, but that is very much so connected to the design of who you are. But it's like, until you can see how that what you've asked about plugs into the greater greater design of you, it's like something stuck. Yeah, super interesting. And I just have to go with my intuition here in pulling out an answer, and it has I have two different answers, and it's like answers just suddenly dropped into me. If this is a past tense question, it's like you missed seeing a key element. You missed, I don't want to say you missed the boat or you changed your destiny or, but there was something you didn't see, that like your boundaries and intentions weren't clear in the past. So if this question is past tense, so that there's already black and white, a yes or a no, like this is in relation to something that's already done, and you're just like, did that connect or didn't it, or like were there feelings there by that person or weren't there, or did I do a good job or didn't I? Kind of, that thing where it's like, it's the past, so there's already an answer, and you're just like, want clarity and insight about it. It's like, the answer, if it's past, is no. It's like you didn't have that clarity of intention you needed for a real yes to have surfaced, have been, found. If this is a future tense question, or like a question where things are still unfolding, you have everything you need to get a yes here. But you need to find that clarity of intention behind your question. Like, what's the bigger purpose here? How is this question plugging into my bigger design? To kind of break free of this nebulous, like, I'm doing things just to do them, and even though I'm practicing good at them, it's like, well, but why? You know? And it's like, but if you can get into spending more time with yourself, paying attention to when impulse arrives, when motivation arrives, the answers, you can find them, and finding those answers helps you to create intention and direction, like more precision in this question, how you're directing it, what the purpose is. And there's manifesting potential, and the potential for this to lead you to the future, a future that feels more exciting to you, more free to you. So future tense is a maybe, but everything you need to get a yes. You just have to do a little work. Past tense, it's like, it just, these things weren't connected in yet, so it wasn't working, whatever it was. So I hope that makes sense. I hope it gives you insight. If so, if this resonates, I'm always appreciative of support. So the easiest way is just with the little like button. If you are new here or have not subscribed yet, definitely do so if you want more readings like this. And if it really resonated, definitely send it on to a friend. And always also very grateful for kind and thoughtful comments. And yeah, I hope you guys have a beautiful day wherever and whenever you are. And yeah, I will see you guys in future readings. All right, see ya. Hello, beautiful pile 4. Welcome to your Friday Insight, where we are going to get yes, no, maybe answers to questions you brought here. So as I was tuning into your pile, preparing your reading, intuitive hits that came that always influence the vibe I feel and how I read this was, to be honest, as I was initially starting to prepare, and I even like right now can't get my words straight, things were a mess. I don't know if what you've asked about feels like a little bit of a mess right now. That doesn't mean there's a no here, but there is a little bit like an edge of anxiety. I didn't feel like extreme anxiety, but some scattering, more scattering than anxiety. The other thing though that happened that's very interesting, and I don't necessarily recall this happening before, but as I was getting to the end of shuffling and drawing these first 3 initial cards, by the time I got to the 3rd one, I was suddenly very calm and, energy felt more careful and calm and easy. So there was this like time element that then came through. I was like, okay, that's fascinating. There's something about time in this where it's like, I don't know if it's like maybe your question is messy, but with time, something's going to kind of calm down and ease. Or if you've already felt that, like something around this question used to be messy, but you've kind of got more like intentionality and focus kind of coming through. And I actually feel that process of like, I'm going to use a metaphor here, of like when you're coming up with a new, say you're a painter and you have this inspiration of like, I really want to paint a beautiful flower or a portrait of somebody. But then that throws like all these possibilities of like, okay, well, I need to find my subject. Do I want that portrait like indoor or outdoor? Like, is this a portrait that's like serious or fun? Like, I just had this general inspiration of a portrait. Maybe I've never done a portrait and suddenly feel that calling of like, I want to try a portrait, but then it's like, but what are the details? And like, it kind of feels like that, but like as you just dive into it, you kind of, that process refines, and then you're like, okay, yeah, I want to do someone that identifies as male. I want it to feel colorful. I want it to feel experimental. I want this backdrop. I want these colors. So it's like, that's what it feels like. So that time element. So right now you may be in that phase of like just jumping into something and it being like, wow, where do I go with this? I need to kind of get a hold on it. Or that might relate to you that like this question is now in a phase of like something's more refined. So we're now going to look at these initial 3 cards I've pulled, and we're looking at underlying energy right now. Even what I was picking up before, this is all sort of like underlying energy that is affecting your question, whether you're conscious of it or not. So sometimes it's not directly related to your question, but it's like energy, underlying certain things in your life that would naturally just affect everything in a way. But it may feel very directly relevant to what you've asked about. So deep down, interesting, compassion, I do feel whatever you've asked about. And the energy I just talked about, like kind of starting somewhere abstract and getting more refined. It's like whatever you've asked about either needs you to or is benefiting from you going deeper within yourself to get more clarity about inner life. And that's making you a bit more compassionate, like self-compassionate around what you've asked. It's sort of like you need to be more compassionate with yourself and go really deep inside of you to get certain clarity of how to refine something here. To to reach your authenticity too. So fascinating. It's like whatever you've asked about or something else going on in your life, it's like you're needing to go further and deeper within yourself to develop a more compassionate attitude towards yourself. And by doing that, that will kind of take away certain overlays, certain blockages that have been there around you really, really reaching your authenticity and understanding your authenticity. Not just being authentic, but feeling like you're authentic, but like knowing you are. And knowing and it's because it's like knowing what your authenticity is. It's like when you know what that is, you know when you are being authentic. And being more conscious of being authentic. And that gives new context to what I was, feeling before of kind of that mess energy. It's like maybe there's a lot of distractions in general around you right now that are preventing you from being deeper within yourself and connecting to your interior kind of values and interests and personality. It's like maybe there's just that stuff that ebbs and flows in all of our lives. There's times where we're pulled very outwardly and there's just like a lot of outer world things happening, pulling at our energy, scattering us. And I think this is saying you need to maybe make some space to block some of that out so that you have more space to get back into you. So something about that I think would be very helpful around this question. Okay, let's get a little more context. That one's coming out. Fluorite, find peace within. Yeah, really needing to go inward right now. Tourmalated quartz, get out of your own way. And next to compassion, that is sort of like you may be feeling a little hard on yourself, or there's too many external comparisons or something that are blocking, you know, who you are and what you actually want, regardless of what's going on out there. And that's sort of like getting in the way of you having just compassion for who you are and what you actually want, and just, you know, acting through that, not through, you know, certain influences and expectations and trends and, you know, whatever it is. And then Jade, oh, interesting, be the bigger person. That is an interesting message to come up. And with authenticity. And tuning into compassion here, there may be things going on in your external life that are having you tripped up a bit, having you in certain mental spaces or judgments that you don't like, they don't feel authentic to you. And like, even if these things that are making your mind spin a bit or be in a place you don't love, it doesn't mean they don't deserve to be judged or to have negative feelings or whatever. But it's like, but to get back into that, like deeper, back into connection with you and what you need for you and where you need to be going, and reconnecting to your authenticity in the sense of like, you're just acting in accordance to what you need and not due to certain things you're feeling. It's like you need to have externally some compassion too, to be like, whatever's going on, it's not about me, even if it's affected me. People are on their own journeys. It's time for me to not worry about their journeys and just have compassion that they're on a journey, and just detach from how this has affected me and get back into me and have some compassion for myself, which reconnects me with what I want and what I should be doing for me and what I should be doing for my own growth. And so it's like just coming into just like a mature sense of yourself and just doing what you need to, like moving life through you, for you. And letting that external stuff just, you know, if people are bugging, doing things you don't like, how can that just be their problem? How can you externalize that, separate it from it being personal somehow, in order to get back into you? And like, what do you need though right now, despite what's going on outside? Like, where is growth happening in your life and inside that's not even connected to this? And if I can give focus to that, how does that detach me from this other stuff? How can I, you know, where are the things in my life that are opening up to growth that are totally different from this shit? But that will reconnect me with me and some growth in my life that feels positive. It's kind of what it feels like to me. So I don't know, you know, whether that directly relates to your question or not. Will probably be different for each of you, but there's something in your life connected to this, and it is affecting your question. Okay, so we're going to do some tarot to get your actual yes, no, maybe. Queen of Wands. Yeah, there is something in you that's growing though, that's wanting to be connected to, like in a positive way as well. Nine of Cups, and yeah, if you can connect to it, to your positivity, to your personal growth, it's like wish fulfillment coming in. For some of you, these tarot cards are indicating good job. You've already done what this, or like are doing a good job at, or have already done what kind of the stuff we've already talked about was about. Like you've already kind of just tuned into what you need, your deeper authenticity, where growth is actually happening. This may be saying like you did a good, that's what I feel. It feels like yes across the board, whether you ask something past tense, present tense, future tense, it's like I feel the cards wanting to congratulate, like you've done a really good job of just being true to you and recognizing where your positivity is and recognizing where there is actual growth in your life despite other areas that may feel blocked or messy. It's like you took the time to go deep within and to connect and notice where growth was happening and really focus attention there. And it's a big yes here. It's like, and if there's more you can build on upon that, it's like saying there's a lot of ability to like really nourish and grow things here with greater abundance too. But yeah, like a really beautiful yes coming through here. Okay, that is where I'm going to leave you guys. I hope this resonated, brought some insight, clarity, whatever it is you are needing. If so, I always appreciate support. The easiest way is to hit that like button. Other ways, if you're not yet subscribed, please do so if you want more readings like this. If it really resonated, send this reading on to a friend to try for themselves. And definitely always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. And yeah, I hope you guys have a beautiful day wherever and whenever you are, and I will see you in future readings.